Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new painting tutorial, and this time we're going to paint this leader of unit of the Plaguebearer, okay, the demons of Nurgle. So we have primed them with Death Forest Green, okay, with this color, not this color, this is the Castellan, sorry. It's here, Death Forest Green, okay, this is the color we have used to prime, but it was primed with spray. And now what we're going to do is we're going to apply a dry brushing of green camo, okay, over this guy. So we shake it well, take some paint. It's quite wet, this one, I have it, so yeah, maybe I should open a new one, because it's I put a little bit too much water, but it's not a problem, because this one I want it to be quite heavy. This is a rushing, and this is going to be the base. Later on we will need to do the pustules and all the details, but this will be the base for the, you can see it's a little bit too wet. And I want to take that, now it should be better. Yes, now it's much better. Okay, now it's. And as I said, I want to go quite heavy, so you can go heavy, lighter, depending what you want on your Plaguebearers. I will not do all the same. Okay, even the Nurglings I will play a little bit with intensity. I will do different layers maybe on the Nurglings, but we just do dry brushing on the whole skin, okay? As you can see, I go quite heavy this time. My brush is not super dry, and it's because I really want to ensure that I have this light green well visible, okay? So you can see. Okay. And I will wait a little bit, although it's a dry brushing, I will wait a little bit at this device and I'm back. So next step, I'm going to use Cadian Flagestone. Okay, I already dry my brush, and we're going to apply this over the miniature. You can put more or less, or you can even use Kislev Flagestone if you like to add some variation. So you can play here with the skin tone that you would like to put. Okay, here I decided to go with Cadian Flagestone. Kislev Flagestone also will work. Okay, and here I will not apply too much, just like that. And again, I will wait and I come back. So once the previous dry brushing have dried, now we are going to apply a wash of regular flake sheet, okay? This one. So we are going to apply a nice layer of this. I will cover everything, and the other parts or the different details we are going to be done later on. Okay, so first we are doing all these layers to do the genetic tone skin, and once this is done, then we will be ready to do the details that we have on the skin. Okay, here we go. I'm doing this the whole, so you can see how I apply the wash when I want to wash all over the miniature. Okay, so this is done, and now I'm missing this arm, and now we wait at this device, and I will be back for the next step. Next, I'm going to use Fluid on Flash. Okay, in the next step, I'm going to apply the Achi Violet over the Plaguebearer to give this, as I said, I'm going for this type of purplish tone. I'm deviating a little bit from the traditional green. Okay, but I think it's also quite interesting for Norgal. Here I will not go on top of the horns, I just put it here on the base of the horns, and you can be more or less intense depending on what you wanting, okay, what you're looking for. If you want, yeah, the other option is to go for another green wash instead of purple, but I think this purple adds a lot of, I think it's adding a lot of interest on the skin tone at the end. It's making the skin quite interesting. We will need to work later on to dissimulate this big joint there. The only thing that is bothering me on the construction of these Plaguebearers okay. So we ensure that we apply it on all the skin parts. And then we wait at this device before doing any further step. Okay, next step I'm going to use Agrax Air Shade, and I will apply this on the horns. Here. Let's see, we have a nice color for the skin now. Now it's time to start working on the tails and the weapons, and as well on this nargling that is there. We'll remove a little bit the excess here. Okay, we have to be careful. Okay, next I'm going to use a green shade, and I will use a green shade on the darkling. Okay, so I'm going to use the camo shade, this one. I will keep a green color for the darkling. You can also use, I was thinking as well to use air shade, the thing the Narglings I like to make them green. And I think it's great that they have put this. And what we can do, for example, is we can make the back spine and apply this green shade as well here on this back spine. Okay. I'm going to take out a little bit of the excess. Like that will be enough. Now I will use. I will wait at this device, I think, and then I will come back. Next step, I'm going to use a messy desert, and I'm going to do all the pustules. We are going to do it like that. Okay, touching just all the pustules passionately. And these ones you can do or not, so it depends on everyone. I try to do just the circle and I keep applying, okay? So I will do this on all the pustules that we have on this guy. This is a good amount. And I'm back for the next step. Okay, next step, I'm going to work to make this less visible. And to work on that, I will start first applying a little bit. So I'm going to use Rhinus hide. I'm going to use Tusgor fur, and I also have Chereus purple and Cadian flagestone. Okay, these ones. So I start first with Rhinus hide. Sorry, not Rhinus hide, it's Dryad bark. Okay, it's quite similar. So it's this one, Dryad bark, and we are going to do like that. Okay, we are going to darken all these bars. Now we take the Tusgor fur with a little bit of purple, and we start. We go wider than the. And now I will take Kislev, Cadian flagestone, and we are going to mix it. So the intention is to break the uniformity of the the uniformity of the line, to create some shade so that this is not that visible. It's going to be difficult. This joint is really bad. I don't know if it was my mistake in the assembly, but it's really a pain to dissimulate. I just want to make it less visible. You will not be able to completely eliminate, but at least we are going to make it a little bit more discreet. Okay, take a little bit of Tusgor. Tusgor is very reddish, so you want to mix it with a little bit of brown. Give this appearance of dirtiness. Okay, and now it's more or less, it's a little bit less visible. That is what we wanted at the end. You will not be able to eliminate completely, but you can make it less visible. Now I'm going to use flat one flash or any one color, and I will do the teeth. Okay. I will wait this twice. Okay. Next, I'm going to use the same Tusgor fur with a little bit of purple. Going to be, and we'll do the tongue. And then I will take not Kislev, Cadian Flagestone, also mixed with a little bit of Tusgor fur, and we do the tip of the tongue, like that. Now I'm going to take corn red, I don't need too much, and we are going to do the eyes. I will do the eyes in red color. I can also do the eyes on the Norgling. I will do the same. I will apply the same techniques, but as it is very hiding, I will do the Norgol face later on, because it's not going to make sense to do it on camera. It's difficult to access and even more difficult to share what I'm doing. Okay, so I will not spend too much time here on the video with it. Now I'm going to take Wild Rider Red. Okay. And I'm going to increase the brightness on the eyes. And I will leave them like that. So let's make the big pustules. On the big pustules, I think I will go for a green color, to mix it a little bit. I'm going to use the Ogwin Camo Green. Okay, this color I'm using. device. Okay. Now I'm going to take Militarum Green, and because I'm waiting that the camo is drying, and I will do the back spine. I'm going to use now the same cadmium flesh tone, and we are going to put it on the source, this type of scars he has. Oh, it has, maybe I have to say. It's a little bit too thin. It's not a problem, because later on I will only do some of them. Again, as you can see, I changed the zone area because I want to give time that it dries. I have some big pustules that I can also apply green. Okay, to make them a little bit different. So for example, this one I will apply green on top of the yellow, just to make them to break a little bit the uniformity of all these pustules. Not too much, you don't want to exaggerate. Okay. Now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use an argel rod. And I will put an argel rod. So as you can see, I'm going to use quite some technicals here. Now I'm going to use an argel rod on this type of holes that he has. To make them look nasty. You don't need to do all the holes, just some of them. I suggest to go for the big ones. Okay, and I just do the holes in the front in the case. Okay, I don't do this one here, the ones I will do it in a different way. Okay, this is good enough. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the blood for the blood god. And I'm going to put it on some of the wounds, especially on these pustules here. We'll add water if needed. So I want them to look more translucent. Okay, so you want it to look, the blood to be more translucent. The blood is not like paint, it's quite translucent normally. You want to give this finishing. And I will do the same on some of the scars or sores he has. For example, this one here. I will do it like that. And I think now I will go on the big ones where we put before cadmium flesh tone. And we put this in the wounds. Okay. I think for the sores and wounds it's okay. Put a little bit more blood for the blood god on these normal things. I think that it's good. Next, I'm going to use Seraphim Sepia. We can use the matte or you can use the gloss. I will use the matte in that case. You can also use the gloss if you want it. And we are going to touch every single pustule and create a shading. Let's take this note. Create a shading around the pustules, okay? And also make them a little bit more brown. And you create as well like a browny area around. Okay. With that, we're going to have the skin almost done. You can also mix it here a little bit if you want it with on the blood at the end. The blood will not be that clean anymore. And this guys, I'm realizing that I missed some scars here at this knee. We are going to do them later on in the same way we did the others. Okay, like that is good. Okay, now I'm going to use Bainbred Brown. Need to mix it. I'm going to use this one, and we are going to apply some highlights on the holes. Okay, I will keep them in this brown. I will not go to a lighter color, but I will just do like edge highlight. Okay. So I'm going to do this on the other horns and I'm back. Okay, I have done the highlights on the horns. Now I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, very little. I'm taking in reality Avalanche Sunset in that case. So I just want to create a little bit of bright on the eye. But I think it gives more, improves the expression. Okay, next I'm going to use again cadmium flagstone. I need to mix it a little bit. It's quite thin the one I have, and I want it a little bit thicker. Okay, here we go. And with the cadmium flagstone I'm going to paint the heads he's carrying. Okay. Don't worry at this moment, just apply the cadmium flagstone. I don't mind if I leave some of the green visible through the cadmium flagstone, but I want to give a pinkier color than the skin of the Plaguebearer. So I'm going to do that. You can see here we have and then I need to wait that this part will dry. Okay, 3 heads again at the position of Norgal. In this middle we have a lot of Norgal symbolism. I'm going to use the Baneblade Brown to do the hair, and I do that because it will give quite a off brown that will work better for the purpose we want here. Okay, so I'm applying this brown on the hair and I'm back. So while the head is drying, I'm going to use mood green and I'm going to paint the sword. With mood green. Okay, it's a little too thin. We are going to apply 2 layers. They want quite a solid green to work on. Okay, so I'm applying 2 layers of mood green here, and I'm back. Okay, next step, I'm going to use Balthasar Gold on the sword, and we are going to use it on the handle of the sword. Okay, we just plug this. I'm going to use and I'm going to use this. Is a nice, they call it gold, but I find it to be a nice cooperish color. So if you want to have a cooperish, I highly recommend to have a very nice coverage over black, over any color. And yeah, I use it more for a gold, for a copper or dark bronze than really for gold. Okay, okay, that's all. Now I'm going to use a contrast paint. I'm going to use this one, warp lining, and we are going to glaze, so meaning that I'm going to thin it down with some water, and I'm going to glaze over the sword. Okay. Like that. Okay. Something like that. Now I'm going to take Agate air shade, and I'm going to apply it over the dead heads that he's handling on his left hand. So I'm going to put it on the hair and as well on the skin, as I want to look the skin look dirty and without life. Okay. I'm applying this one here, and after applying that I will wait until these two layers dry. Okay. Next step, I'm going to use Black Templar on the sword. This one we can be a little bit heavier, because what we want to leave at the end is just dark color with a green highlight, right? I remove a little bit if I see that there is too much in some places, and I leave it like that it dries. Okay, I'm going to use Iwakter shade on this part here. Okay, this one. Careful on this is not happening. Okay. And now I'm going to paint a little bit on the heads as they are there. So I will change to thinner brush. I will do first the stitches, basically closing the eyes. Okay, this is wrong. So the problem we can put the shade at the end. And also on the mouth. And over here. Here. This one is really the form. Okay. Here I want to avoid to use I'm going to avoid not to use any pinkish color now. And I'm going to go more for browns. So I will use now this one, the sticker flesh, and I'm going to do some highlights, okay? We don't need too much. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of vestigial flesh. As a highlight. Okay. So I'm going to apply that. Then, if needed, I will go paler, applying a little bit of flesh, but you can even use raggar flesh if you want. I will use raggar flesh because it's more grease, and I think it will match, will have better match with what I do here. So I'm taking raggar flesh. You will give this greenish tone that will match with that skin. Okay, so we can put it, for example, in the pustules. some places what we want to be extra pale. So at the end what you want to give is the sensation of lifeless skin, right? So we can mix this with the vestigial color we were applying before. And even we can use some Beyblade brown that we used before on the hair. And here you can be a little bit patchy. I don't think the skin will look nice and thin when your head have been cut, right? I will make use of the Beyblade brown to help me on the transitions, to give the color a little bit more this greyish look. Okay. And what I try to avoid is to use any pinkish color, right? So take a little bit more of the Beyblade brown. You can see it's looking like that. Now we can take some blacker flesh. Kill even more. Blacker flesh will kill the bright. And then where we have the open wound of the where the head was chopped from the body, there I will, at this moment I will not touch anything there. Okay. Working like that, and I think we are having quite a nice that tone of the skin. Okay, so I keep working on that. I just want to be sure. This guy have like a big pustule. I will put it more with blacker flesh. I will go more for a whitish color here. The mouth is completely deformed in this guy, so it's very weird, this one. Okay, and now I'm going to take Beyblade brown and I'm going to do some highlights on the hair, on the hair, sorry. I want to leave the greyish tone, so I will just use this one, and if you want to go lighter, just use darker flesh as well, but I want to avoid that because I want to keep the hair in a brown, and then I want to keep a little bit touch of orange on the skin, so we can have a good distinction or good contrast between the hair and the skin. Okay. And I think like that we are giving the sensation of dead heads. Okay, let's go back to the sword. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take Mood Green. I will need to put a little bit more on my palette. And we are going to do a little bit of edge highlight. I want to keep this more in the brighter spectrum, while the rest of the Plaguebearer is more on the desaturated color, so this sword will have more bright, more saturated green. Okay, and if I'm using the Mood Green, the same we use for the, and you can use using then the Cyber Green, the Cabalite Green, in case you need to help in the transition, or you can use the Warstone Green if you need it. Okay, so I will work like that on the rest of the sword. As you see here, doing this, not too complicated, just being patient. And if you want, you can leave it as it was before, right? This is just to increase a little bit more. I always like to increase the contrast in some parts, but if you like it as it was before, leave it as it was before. Okay, so I will do the other side of the sword, and I'm back. Okay, next step I'm going to use against Aglac Air Shade, and I'm going to shade again a little bit the hair, and I will go on the eye sockets, just to be sure I keep them dark. Okay, and I will do here on the pustules. So some strategic points where you want to increase the shade. Okay, but not too much. You don't need to do too much. And see, I keep them very saturated. I don't want to add a lot of contrast. I want to keep very natural colors on all these skin things. And the last thing I want to do, I will show you. I'm going to use Haircoat gloss varnish. Okay, any gloss varnish will do the work. And I will put it in the mouth. Okay. As you can see, I don't need to put it on the big pustules because, as I used before, blood for the blood god is already shiny. Okay, I leave it like that. And then you can go a little bit down. And with that, I give this guy done. Okay, so this is how to paint the Plaguebearers. I did the leader of the unit in this tutorial, but yeah, same steps are going to be used in all the others. Okay, I show you here another example, very similar. Okay, the sword, yeah, we do this bigger, but you can see very similar finishing. Here the only difference I did is I got a little bit more purple around the wounds, so it all depends what you want to do. Sometimes you can put a little bit more purple, a little bit more green. It's up to everybody what you want to do. Okay, I recommend to do a little bit of variation and play a little bit with the colors so you have more variation. So that's all for this tutorial. So I hope you have enjoyed this one, and as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.